You know how sometimes you just want to, like, really get something, dive in deep, find those surprising facts, but without all the fluff.
Yeah, cut straight to the interesting stuff.
Exactly. And that's what we're doing right now. We're doing a deep dive into a guide that's just packed with ideas, things to spark curiosity, maybe shake things up a bit.
That's right. We've got Hot Sex Over 200 Things You Can Try Tonight by Jamie Waxman and Emily Morris right here. And it's quite the collection, covers a lot of ground.
200 things, seriously.
Seriously, from, the first hints of attraction, teasing, all the way to some, well, pretty adventurous explorations.
Okay, so it's basically like a huge menu of possibilities, full of tips, techniques, positions, all aiming for more fun, sensuality, satisfaction, I guess.
Pretty much. And our mission today is to kind of unpack that for you. Pull out the actionable bits, the surprising insights, so you can expand your horizons on what's possible and maybe just as importantly, how to talk about it.
Right. Communication is always key.
Always. So let's kick things off. When these authors, Waxman and Morse, talk about hot sex, what do they actually mean? Is it just one thing?
Good question. They actually say it's a lot of things. It could
Yeah.
be fun, even silly sometimes.
Okay.
Or, yeah, explosive, intense, but also really intimate,
Yeah.
deep, dynamic, sometimes just reliably good or totally unexpected.
So it's not a single definition.
Not at all. They make a big point that it's super personal. What feels hot to one person might be about safety and comfort. For someone else, maybe it's pure ecstasy or orgasm. And for others, it's just about connection, wholeness, or simply having a good time.
Right. It really depends on the individual. And they mentioned something foundational too, didn't they?
Mm.
About attitude.
Yeah, enthusiasm. That's like the key ingredient.
Make sense?
They say sex is generally best when you're genuinely excited about it. If you're just going through the motions, it kind of falls flat, right? No matter how good your technique might be, enthusiasm is infectious.
Totally. It just sets a better mood for everything, especially exploring new things.
For sure. And they also touch on how sex and relationships aren't static, they change.
Yes, they really stress the fluidity. Things evolve,
Right.
within one relationship or over your whole life. What feels great today might be different tomorrow, and that's okay.
So embracing change.
Exactly. And being open to different kinds of explorations, different partners, different genders.
Hmm.
They're very inclusive.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, they might use he and she, sometimes just for simplicity, but they explicitly state, like, try this stuff with anyone you desire. It sets a really welcoming tone.
Okay, great foundation. So where do they go next? The art of the tease. Seduction. It sounds like the buildup is important.
Oh, hugely important. They've got a whole section just on anticipation. The idea behind teasing, as they put it, is basically holding back a bit,
Okay.
stretching out that desire, making it stronger by using all the senses, sight, touch, sound, really savoring that buildup.
Like an appetizer making the main course taste better.
Exactly. And a big part of that is words. Just telling your partner what you want, what you're thinking, that can be incredibly hot.
Mm-hmm.
And slow touch. They really emphasize slow, deliberate touch. Not rushing, just gradually building that heat with, like, lingering caresses.
Making the journey part of the pleasure. Okay.
Precisely. And they give practical examples. Simple things like really intentional eye contact.
How so?
Like you notice them noticing you, and then you add a little smile, maybe lick your lips, raise an eyebrow playfully. Small things.
Subtle.
Yeah, and touch too, even tiny touches. Placing your hand on theirs, maybe letting your fingers linger just a second longer than usual.
I like their idea about playing footsie, too. That feels kind of sneaky and fun, especially in public.
It's a classic.
Mhm.
They suggest starting gentle, maybe little rubs, then maybe sliding your toes up their leg a bit. It's a sort of secret game.
Yeah, yeah. What about more obvious flirting?
Oh yeah, they cover that too, like playing with your hair, tossing it, running fingers through it, leaning in so they catch your scent,
Mm-hmm.
and just giving someone your full attention. Asking questions, really listening, that's powerful.
True.
And then there's food flirting.
Food flirting. Okay, tell me more.
Yeah, like using suggestive-looking fruit or maybe an ice pop, just playing with it in a way that gets their mind going.
Yeah.
It's playful, taps into those desires.
Food is foreplay. I like it. And while sexting has to be in there too, right? Modern world and all.
Oh, absolutely. They call it a fantastic way to build that heat when you're apart.
How do they suggest doing it?
Sending little hints of fantasies, maybe reminding them of a hot moment you shared, or teasing what you'll do next time you see them. Keep it short, sweet, a bit naughty. Leave something to the imagination.
Nice. And they also make a point about kissing and even just touching with clothes on.
Yes. Huge point. The buildup starts way before clothes come off. They even say, like, bring back that teenage make-out energy. Seriously. Some of the most electric moments happen fully dressed. That friction, the anticipation, it's potent. And you can do it almost anywhere. Lingering there is key to building that hot sex vibe.
So don't rush past that stage. Got it.
Exactly. Maximize the tension before moving on.
Okay, next up in the book is play. Sounds like adding novelty, fun.
That's the idea. They see play as, like, vital for good sex, good connection. It means laughter, games, maybe toys, props, even exploring power dynamics, safely, of course.
Keeping it light sometimes.
Yeah, tapping into those feel-good brain chemicals, strengthening the bond through fun. Sex doesn't always have to be super serious.
Makes sense. They mentioned sensual feasts.
Engaging all five senses: the sight of your partner, the sound of their voice, their scent, the taste of food you might share, the feel of their touch. A full immersion.
Sounds amazing. What are some examples?
Okay, they suggest a fizzy champagne bath, pouring champagne over each other, maybe focusing on a certain area.
Like breasts.
Yeah, or wherever feels good.
Mm.
Then lapping it up gently, or
Right.
maybe taking a sip and releasing it during oral sex. Playful stuff.
Interesting. What else?
Service with a smile. Serving little bites of food like sushi or fruit right off your partner's body. Using fingers or your tongue combines taste and touch.
Wow. Okay. Definitely multisensory.
And using edible things like warm chocolate syrup or honey.
Mm.
Writing naughty words or drawing shapes on their skin.
And then licking it off.
And then slowly licking it off. But they do give a big warning. Don't use these things internally.
Right. Important safety tip.
Yeah. Same with whipped cream. Lick it all off before using condoms and never put sugary stuff inside.
Yeah.
But yeah, these ideas can definitely shake things up.
Definitely breaks the routine. Okay. Now the book gets really practical with hands-on hints. What are some key techniques here?
Yeah, this is very specific advice. For caressing breasts, they say start light, gentle, then maybe firmer pressure. Sucking nipples gently or maybe a bit stronger. Playful nibbles. Tracing patterns around the areola with your mouth or fingers. And one interesting tip. Tease one nipple while stimulating the other simultaneously.
Oh, that sounds like it could be intense, distracting in a good way.
Exactly. Overloads the senses a bit. For the vulva, they suggest a step-by-step.
Okay.
Start by just cupping the whole pubic mound. Then slow, sensual brushing up and down the inner and outer lips. Then focus on the clitoris. Gently squeezing the hood, moving fingers up and down.
Gentle being the key word.
Initially, yeah. Then maybe clockwise, circles around the clit, pausing at different spots like hours on a clock. They mention internal stimulation too, the first few centimeters being most sensitive. And the G-spot.
Right, the G-spot.
Yeah, but they advise asking for feedback before going too hard there. And they always emphasize coming back to the clitoris for orgasm for most women. Lots of different touches, circles, taps, rubbing the base. Always watching cues.
Very mindful, communicative touch. What about stimulating the penis?
Good question. They say don't wait for a full erection to start touching. And preferences vary hugely head, shaft. So ask what feels best.
Always ask. Good advice.
Definitely. Techniques include gripping the base with one hand, stroking up and down with the other, switching hands maybe, making a circle with thumb and forefinger while stroking. Maybe giving an extra twist or focus on the frenulum, that sensitive bit underneath the head, trying different angles like stroking from behind. And importantly, not forgetting other zones.
Like what?
Testicles, the perineum, that spot between genitals and anus, even pressing firmly there for potential prostate stimulation.
Good to cover all the bases. They mentioned mutual masturbation, too.
Yes, they frame it as a great way to show each other what feels good, visually and physically. It's like a teaching tool without words.
I can see that.
Plus, watching your partner get pleasure can be super arousing itself. They even suggest putting your hand over theirs, or vice versa, to guide the touch directly.
Nice. And the book gets into using accessories for teasing touch.
Yeah, adding another layer. Things like jewelry, silk scarves, feathers, gloves, gently sweeping them over the skin.
Yeah.
Base of the penis, all over the body.
Playing with sensation.
Exactly. Experimenting with really light versus slightly firmer touch. Watching reactions. They mention using a long satin glove for head-to-toe strokes or trailing smooth beads down the torso and over the shaft.
That's luxurious. And finally, surprising sensation.
Introducing the unexpected, like ice cubes lightly on the neck, nipples, belly, or holding ice in your mouth while exploring with lips and tongue.
Brr. But I bet it works.
Can be very effective. Blindfolds, too, heighten other senses. Light scratching for a bit of playful edge.
Right.
And classic feathers for tickling and teasing, jolting the senses pleasurably.
Wow. Okay, so much variety, all focused on communication and playfulness. Let's move to probably popular bit, satisfying sex positions.
Yeah.
Beyond the usual suspect.
Oh, yeah. They cover the basics missionary, woman on top, spooning, doggy, sitting, standing, and they dive into tons of variations,
Oh.
like taking a stand, standing sex. They talk about the urgency, the unique balance challenges, using each other or a wall for support. Definitely different.
Always looks tricky in movies.
Yeah. Requires some coordination. They also explain the coital alignment technique, C.
T? C, C?
Yeah. A missionary variation for better clitoral stimulation. Higher pelvic alignment, more rocking than deep thrusting. And even within standard missionary, changing leg positions wrapped around the waist, stretch it out straight, changes everything. Angle, depth, sensation.
Small changes, big difference.
Totally. Then they cover spooning, the ease, the intimacy, and variations for deeper penetration just by shifting legs or bodies slightly.
Okay.
Right, cowgirl. They
Yeah.
talk about the control, the visuals,
Yeah.
sitting up facing him for intimacy, eye contact, leaning back for a different view, controlling depth.
Lots of control for the person on top there.
Exactly. There's the Arc de Triomphe position, too, which they mention for potentially hitting the G-spot and the A-spot.
Wait, A spot. I know the G spot.
Yeah, think of it as another internal zone, a bit deeper and higher than the G-spot near the cervix. The book actually has a helpful glossary for terms like that.
Ah, okay. Good to know.
They also discuss leg wraps in various positions to get closer, improve clitoral access, and the head over heels position limits eye contact, so it really amps up the focus on touch and sound.
Ooh, that sounds intensely sensual.
It can be. And then they get unconventional, like sit and stin, seckle, using a washing machine's
There's
vibration.
a washing machine. Seriously.
Yeah. With safety warnings, obviously. Use the right settings. They also mention stand and deliver and seated positions, chairs, counters.
Okay, definitely thinking outside the bedroom.
For sure. Getting sexy on the sofa, using cushions for support, bounce. 4 on the floor is an easier alternative to the standing wheelbarrow. And shower sex, of course.
The classic. Tricky but fun.
Yep. And they remind you, need silicone lube in the shower.
Yeah.
Water washes everything else away.
Good tip.
And they don't stop there. Sex all over the house, porch swings, pillows on the floor, stairs, even Pilates balls for different angles. And finally, the look of love position deep eye contact throughout, plus deep penetration.
It really shows you can use your whole environment, doesn't it? It's about creativity.
Exactly. Seeing your home or wherever you are with new sensual eyes.
Okay, now we get into the explore section. Sounds like things get a bit more adventurous here. Communication must be absolutely vital now.
Oh, non-negotiable. They hammer this point home. Communication is the absolute foundation for anything adventurous. Talking desires, limits, checking in constantly.
Makes sense.
This is where they introduce BDSM concepts, bondage, discipline, dominance, submission, sadism, masochism, and they stress. Thorough discussion first, clear safe words.
Safe words are crucial.
Absolutely. And starting gradually. For bondage, they give examples from soft scarves or cuffs to rope.
Rope needs care, though, right?
A lot of care. They warn about safe tying, avoiding anything restricting breathing or circulation. Handcuffs, too, maybe padded ones. Even verbal commands is restraint. Making someone wait while restrained can really heighten things.
The psychological side is huge there.
Definitely. They talk about intense sensation toys, different nipple clamps, the Wartenberg wheel. But always try it on yourself first to see how it feels.
Good advice.
Spanking tools too, hand, flogger, paddle, ruler. Again, communication about intensity, aiming for fleshy areas. Brief mention of wax play with proper massage candles, never regular candles, too hot.
High degree of trust needed for all of this.
Absolutely. They even mention making sexy videos, thinking about privacy, flattering angles. Then anal stimulation.
Okay.
Huge emphasis on lots of lube, slow, gentle introduction, constant communication, and using proper toys with a flared base for safety. Strap-ons and pegging get mentioned too.
It's interesting how openly these things are discussed now.
It reflects a wider acceptance, yeah. They cover threesomes too. Stressing negotiation, clear boundaries, making sure everyone feels equally involved and respected.
Sounds like complex emotional navigation required there.
No doubt. Then they shift to location. The thrill of out and about sex. Outdoors, public places.
Risky.
Very. They add strong cautions about legal and social boundaries, being respectful, considering risks. Same for putting in some overtime office sex. Think timing, location, consequences.
The risk factor adds excitement for some.
It can. More off-the-beaten-track ideas. Mile High Club, car hood somewhere secluded, under a boardwalk, maybe an elevator. Again, caution advised.
Always with the caution, good.
Nature sex, too, a natural high. Planning, safety, cleanliness are key. Hot tub or spa sex, getting into hot water. Use silicone lube, think about positions, maybe use the jets. Hygiene is important.
Seems like anywhere can be a spot with creativity and communication.
That's the message. Be open, talk honestly.
Finally, the book wraps up talking about connection, the afterglow, reminding us sex isn't just physical.
Exactly. The experience doesn't just stop. They talk about cuddling, reconnecting emotionally, just savoring the feeling afterwards. Oxytocin release, bonding, it's all part of it.
That quiet time after can be really powerful.
So important. They suggest even sending a text or calling later, reinforcing the positive connection. And they zoom out, saying love is more than just the bedroom stuff. It's about conscious effort, being present with your partner always, a whole view of intimacy.
So it's the hot moments and the ongoing connection and care.
Exactly. The afterglow isn't separate. It's part of the whole experience, strengthening the relationship.
Wow. Well, this deep dive into hot sex definitely covered a lot of ground. It's clear this book is packed with ideas for anyone wanting more spice, adventure, connection, whatever they're looking for.
It really is. The sheer range of suggestions just shows there are always new things to discover, new ways to connect, whether you're solo, starting out, or in a long-term thing.
And it feels empowering, because it keeps going back to communication and enthusiasm being the real keys. It's not like you have to try all 200 things.
No. Not tonight, anyway. More like a menu, like you said, inspiration to spark your own ideas and conversations, not a strict rule book.
Right. So thinking about this huge landscape we've just skimmed across, what's maybe one small, curious step you listening might be inspired to take? Exploring your own sensuality, or maybe sharing something new with a partner, definitely food for thought. Maybe even worth grabbing the book for a deeper dive yourself.